Hey, what's good, y'all? I'm Kalen, if you didn't know that already. Have you ever heard the idea that men are only nice to women that they find attractive? Well, this idea caught my attention recently because I was doing some real serious man shit, right? I was on YouTube watching a gameplay trailer for the new God of War game that's supposed to come out maybe next year or something like that, right? And it has a new protagonist and it is a female lead. And when I watched this trailer, I had a very normal line of thinking of, oh, that's cool. It's nice for them to switch things up. Didn't expect that. Very neat. Also, looks great. Very excited for it, right? That was my take. But little did I know that there was a lot of very, very upset men who saw this trailer, saw that not only did they put a woman in oh no, a man's game, they put a woman as the protagonist, how dare they? But they didn't find her conventionally attractive because she looked a little older. She had her wrinkles, you know? She looked like a real woman, right? That was the problem. If you don't know what I'm talking about, here you go. You can see it on screen. This is the protagonist of this game. And they were super, super upset about this because they're like, well, if you're going to put a woman in it and make her the protagonist, can you at least make her hot? That's really what these goofy ass people were saying. And I just could not wrap my head around it. So what did I do? I went to my wife, right? I went to my wife and I was like, I told her about this and I was like, this is so crazy to me. I was like, why are they flipping out about this? Like, the character looks amazing. She looks great. And like, those thoughts that these people have been sharing all over the internet never even crossed my noodle here. So like I didn't get it. Didn't get it at all. And then my wife went on to say, well, it's really not unlike that very common trope of, men really only treat women kindly that they find attractive, and if they don't find her attractive, whatever, then yeah, they're not gonna be super nice about it. And I was like, huh. That's something you've talked about before. It's something you've mentioned before. And, something we've seen on TikTok and YouTube and all over the place. And I just thought to myself, I need to yap about it. So here I am, yapping about it. And you're along for the ride. So welcome aboard the yap train because we got shit to talk about. So I had to investigate, obviously. I went on the greatest resource of all time for these types of videos. That is, of course, TikTok, which I don't think is a great resource for anything else, but good for this. And yeah, saw quite a few examples of women speaking out about this, and it really solidified that. And it even made me think back to the past when I was in like middle school and high school, because I have a little bit of a bias when it comes to like my friend groups. My friend group, I think, was composed of some really solid people, men and women, and a lot of them did not show a lot of these very common character flaws that we see in a lot of men and stuff. So I had a pretty biased upbringing where I never really saw any of this negative stuff. But this is one thing I did see. I did see this actually, and it wasn't necessarily from like my main core friend group, but from people I knew who were definitely meaner to women that they did not find attractive. And I always thought that was extremely jarring. I never understood it, but now I get it. I mean, I don't get why they think that way, but like, I get that that's a thing, that was a thing. Because what you'll see a lot of these creators who I'm going to bring up in a moment say is that basically men really are only going to be nice to you if they think they can get something from you and that they want that something from you. And you know what that is. I don't need to spell it out. It's pretty fucking obvious. But yeah, that's kind of what brought us here today. So without further ado, let's just get into it.
People on here are talking about if a guy doesn't find you attractive, he's not nice to you. And I would actually take it a step further and say he actually doesn't even acknowledge your existence. Because at my old job, I was talking to this one guy and I was telling him a story and I was referencing this one girl we worked with. He was like, who? I was like, and I described her and he was literally like, no, I don't know who that is. I've never met that girl, dead set on convincing me he doesn't know this girl. And I was like, well, actually earlier today, I saw you with my own two eyes, you having a conversation, a full on conversation with her. And I know for a fact that we've worked several shifts with this girl. So you know her. And that's when I realized he doesn't find her attractive. So she literally doesn't exist in his mind, which is insane.
All right, maybe it's because I was basically exclusively raised by women. My family is 75% women, legitimately. And I'm not exaggerating at all. Maybe that's why, I have never even seen things this way or even begun to process things like this. Now, maybe for some of these goofballs, it is completely automatic and involuntary. And even if that is the case, I think that's very problematic because why is that? What does this really come down to? Like, psychologically, what is it about somebody you don't find attractive, particularly women, that makes you not see them as a full person? Is this individual? Is this like some sort of like cultural thing passed down? I'm really not that sure, but it's a question that I think maybe by the end of this video, we'll be able to answer. Either way, it's pretty messed up.
One of the single best ways to find out if a man is actually a good person is to see how he treats women that he finds unattractive. There is no one kinder in this world than a man that finds you beautiful and wants to sleep with you. I know this is going to ruffle some feathers, but men who don't find you attractive often don't see you as a person. How do I know this, you may ask? Because you may be saying, oh my God, you're so beautiful and so funny and so amazing. I love your TikToks. And I'm going, thank you. But actually, in reality, I used to be 23 kilos heavier and I've had loads of plastic surgery and cosmetic shit done. I talk a lot about that. And men used to be really, really mean to me. I've had doors slammed in my face. I've been completely ignored. I've been laughed at. These are sometimes even boyfriends or situationships of my girlfriends that have just completely ignored me and wanted nothing to do with me because they didn't find me attractive. Fast forward to now.
Real quick, for those of you who exclusively speak freedom units, 23 kilos is roughly like 52-ish pounds, something like that, all right? Just putting that out there for you.
Everyone's really nice to me. All the men are really nice to me. How strange, how weird. I've been on dates with guys before where they have been so kind, so nice to me, so loving. And then the waitress will come over. She may be a little older, she may be a little bit overweight, and they turn into a complete and utter asshole. There was one time where I actually went on holiday with this guy. And on the way back, we went for dinner. And he started talking, he was a bit older than me, he started talking about women his own age and how they were disgusting, how they were old, how he wanted nothing to do with them and how he loved me because I was young and blah, blah, blah. I never saw that man again. Never saw him again. Instantly, you know, when they start talking about a woman that they find unattractive, if they start belittling her, they do not respect women, they do not see that women as people, and they're someone you shouldn't fuck with. Now, my boyfriend, on the other hand, he is kind to everyone. He's obviously the kindest to me, because like, why wouldn't he be? Because I'm so funny and hot and amazing. But he's kind to a Victoria's Secret model, and he's equally as kind to a little old babushka making pure money.
First and foremost, I must say, I love the subtle self-glazing that is happening throughout this video. Love the confidence. Beautiful stuff. I must say, I'm very curious what these kings, these absolute kings must look like themselves, especially these older ones who are talking shit about women their own age, like, oh, she's old and she's like wrinkly, and like, what do you look like, bro? I'm sure you look like a ball sack in the face.
Whoever it was that told all you beautiful young ladies out there that it looked good to cover your body in tattoos, they lied to you. It looks like shit.
I don't think you're contender for male model of the year or anything like that. Maybe lower your standards a little bit. But that's kind of where you get the whole like old rich man, young woman dynamic, where it's like, obviously chances are she probably doesn't find him very attractive, but he's got money, and it's about all he's got. It's about all he brings to the table. Legitimately, it answers those very obvious questions, I guess, that probably didn't need much answering. But yes, this is a very, very real thing. I mean, the fact that even I've experienced is I've seen it with my own eyes when I was in like school and stuff like that. And I never realized how widespread and problematic it actually is. And I'm going to give you a little bit of my theory about it right now. And a big chunk of me believes that this is somewhat cultural and embedded in a lot of men, because I mean, you're taught from a young age for decades, for a very long time, you don't really need to respect women a lot of the time, and you watch by example. You have parents and grandparents who treat their spouses like absolute shit, like they're barely even human, and they raise you with that same line of thinking. But suddenly a switch flips when you find them very attractive, because Now it's you want something out of that. There's something you can gain by being kind to them. Whether it's a relationship, a fling, or getting lucky, whatever it is, gives you a reason to be nice. Now, if you don't find that person attractive, well, you're not going to want either of those things, so why treat them like a human being, right? Now, obviously, I'm being sarcastic because I think that's complete bullshit. It's complete, total, utter nonsense. And I think it's a massive flaw, a massive stain on our culture that your kindness or your willingness to treat someone as a human being comes down to how attractive you find them, or even more so, whether or not you can sleep with them. Which also makes a lot of sense when you've got like the nice guy dynamic and they're super nice to you because they're trying to get with you, and then when you reject them, suddenly you're the wicked bitch of the West. Suddenly you're an evil harpy from the seventh circle of hell. Legitimately, I've seen these nice guy conversations where they get rejected over text and they just go on like a 5-page essay about how ugly, fat, and stupid you are and how much they hate you, because suddenly, now that they know they can't get anything from you, you are no longer a human being. It's disgusting, but unfortunately it exists. And this creator here goes into the dehumanizing factor even more so.
The most dehumanizing and heartbreaking aspect of being a woman is the realization that men do not see you as a person if they are not attracted to you. So I really don't see when someone is criticizing when a woman is doing whatever because she's insecure, and particularly a lot of the things that women do in terms of like anti-aging. Like, I'm just never going to criticize a woman for getting a facelift. I'm never going to criticize a woman for getting Botox filler, whatever the fuck, because every single woman knows what it's like for a man to treat her like she's not even there, to not value her opinion, to not even acknowledge her. Like, I've been in so many situations as a person who has been overweight where I'm not even acknowledged as a person. Like, I will be in the room, in the space as people having the conversation, and it's like I'm invisible. Like, it is so dehumanizing and heartbreaking, and women understand this, and that's why so many of us have not only really like legitimate insecurities. Like, a lot of our insecurities aren't out of fucking nowhere. They're legitimate concerns about not wanting to be, pursued necessarily, but just wanting to be fucking seen and treated as a human fucking being. So when I come on this app and I see people talking about like, oh, there's no reason other than you're insecure is why you got that fucking BBL. You're insecure, that's why you got whatever procedure done. And I've seen a lot of those conversations from people who I think would think of themselves as feminists or like pro-women. But what do those conversations do? What are you getting out of telling a woman who has had a procedure done that she was insecure, and to let anybody else think that she wasn't insecure is incorrect? What are you getting out of that conversation? Like, in my opinion, it's not an insecurity to be wanted to be seen as a fucking human being by an entire other gender. And unfortunately, as society is right now, if you're not someone's type, or if you're not thin, or if you're not young, you're not fucking treated as a human. So is that really an insecurity, or is that a logical, reasonable, appropriate response to the way that an entire gender is fucking treating you? Like, come on. Like, I see this conversation too much. It feels genuinely, it feels mean-spirited. It doesn't feel like a good faith type of argument that we're having, to have women specifically be like, you're just insecure. It just doesn't feel like it's coming from a good place. And I know that I'd like to think that these people in general have good, they want good things for women. But that conversation specifically pisses me off. And I see it over and over and over and over again all the time on this fucking app. What do you get out of proving that a woman is insecure? Why does that matter so much to you? Ask yourself.
All right. As somebody who didn't understand the motivation behind like procedures like that back in the day, before I wised up a bit, I especially had not seen this angle. Now, would I ever tell somebody that they were insecure for doing so back then? No, not even then either. And especially, obviously, not now. So I can't like relate to this to those people who do say or act like that. But I do have a lot of comments I'm going to make about this particular video, because I think she's hitting such a valid point that I don't think a lot of people talk about, or a lot of people even really deeply realize. And yeah, like when you are not being treated as a human, and there's a solution to that, so that you can be treated with respect, I don't know, like the human being that you deserve to be, yeah, it would make sense for some people to take those steps to do so if they have the means of accomplishing it. It's just like almost like a natural idea. Now, again, I've never seen anything from this lens before, and I feel like she really hit a very, very interesting angle on this topic. But I also must say that at its core here, this is like a really, really sad realization that some women feel the need to get surgeries to be appealing enough to men so they can be treated well. Like, that is just sad. That is like an absolute failure on our entire culture, where there's people out there believing that that's what needs to be done to be treated normally. Now, this is just honestly something that I feel is probably getting worse right now, especially when you have like AI being the new beauty standard. Legitimately, I watched a video, which I guess I may as well show you. Somebody who was reading through a magazine about getting like, you know, surgeries and stuff like that, you know, cosmetic surgeries, and they were using AI models as the representation for what you should look like, what you could look like after getting these procedures done. And I'm like, that is so out of touch, so tone deaf, so dystopian, that I couldn't even believe what I was watching. It's sickening.
And I picked up a magazine, this magazine before, but it says they are the Beauty Authority. Really great photos. Beautiful. So then I'm like, wonder who took it? Where's the credit? Photo credit is an AI prompt. High fashion editorial photo, same thing. She's not real. She's an AI prompt emphasizing elegant proportion. The art of correction. It's not real. AI prompt, editorial beauty shot of a dermatologist wearing a white coat assessing a woman's face, 40s, glowing skin, subtle filter enhancements in cheeks and lips. This filler isn't real.
I mean, isn't that crazy? Using AI to encourage you to get cosmetic surgeries or whatever it is. Some people might not refer to some of those things as surgeries. That's fine. Whatever it is, cosmetic improvements so that you can look like the stunning AI model, perfect representation of what a woman should look like. Isn't that just sickening? It definitely turned my stomach. It's gross. I mean, does this not just feed the unrealistic, unnatural male fantasy even more? There's an episode of South Park, which has a wonderful message. I forgot what it's called. Actually, no, I did not. It's called The Hobbit. And in that episode of South Park, it's all about like trying to accept yourself as you are and not using things like Photoshop to make yourself look better, because then it creates unrealistic beauty standards, especially for like young girls. And the irony of it is that every young girl wants to use like Photoshop to look better so that they can, you know, fit in with the status quo, the new standard effectively. And it just all backfires and goes to shit. Great episode, by the way. And I think it really hits this point home very, very, very well, that when these beauty standards are laid out and people think that you should look a certain way or otherwise you're not a woman, like when your worth comes from how attractive you are to men, it creates this unbelievably toxic, dysfunctional culture that we just accept. That it is what it is. And I say fuck all that. Like, there's no reason we should accept the standard as it is, because it is brutally backwards, illogical, and just messed up at its core. You know, I feel like for every man who looks at women this way, or like if you're not attractive enough for them, that you're not human, they've got some serious maturing to do. But anyway, that's it for this video. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'll see you all next time.